LLC. Lots and wishes. Class A grow.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to discuss Silver Cloud BC LLC.
Your support? Been moved and supported to discuss Silver Cloud BC. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Mr. Chairman,
Go ahead.
regarding one of the applicants, MK, there was an arrest from 2002. It was not reported because he thought it was dismissed, even though he was arrested. He makes it sound in his explanation that it was dismissed outright, but it was actually after court oversight in a short-term probation. I think it's problematic that that was not reported initially. It had to be followed up on to get that information from the applicant.
Any other discussion? No more discussion? Okay, we need a motion for Silver Cloud. Okay, the chairman will move to pre-qualify Silver Cloud BC. I don't really think I should be doing that, but that's okay. It is in the rules. Is there support?
I'll second.
It's been moved and supported to pre-qualify Silver Cloud BC. Any other discussion? Call the roll.
David Lamontagne.
No.
Vivian Picard.
Yes.
Nicole Cover.
Yes.
Donald Bailey.
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 3 yeses, 2 noes. Motion passes.
Number 7, R&A Distributing LLC. It is a Class A grow. Wishes of the board.
Mr. Chairman, I move that RNA Distributed has pre-qualification status for pending application. Second.
It's been moved and supported to pre-qualify R&A Distributing. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
David Lamontagne.
Yes.
Vivian Picard.
Yes.
Nicole Cover.
Yes.
Donald Bailey.
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses. Motion passes.
Okay, number 8, the applicant is for pre-qualifications, Lodi Crops LLC, Class A grow. Wishes.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to discuss this application before presenting a motion.
Is there support?
Support.
Moved and supported to discuss number 8, Lodi Crops LLC. Open for discussion. Okay, vote on that first. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Both same? Okay, go ahead. Who wants to talk?
Mr. Chairman, regarding applicant JD, there's an undisclosed arrest. The explanation was that he didn't feel the need to be disclosed. And when he does describe it, he describes it inaccurately from the court record. The state police, he does have a home grow, and the state police went to inspect that. The applicant wasn't home, and the wife allowed him access to this grow, which is in violation of the 2008 law regarding MMFLA and access to those grows. He's displaying clearly that there's a hard time following the law, as it is for the 2008 And I think we're going to see the same thing going forward in the 2016 MFLA. There's a gross amount of profits made from this business, and looking at some of the costs that went into his caregiver grow. 1 year was $35,000 for electricity. That is not indicative of a 5-6 patient grow under the 2008 law. I don't think he's going to abide by the 2016 law, and he wasn't able to in the 2008 law.
Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I agree with two things. Obviously, the non-disclosure component is a major issue, and also 4023A is another major issue when you look at the overall file.
Anyone else?
Mr. Johnson, I would point out that the husband and wife are both caregivers, so she could have access.
They don't have access to each other.
That's true, but they were both caregivers.
So they commingle their grows.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying they
We
were
don't
both
know
caregivers. I'm saying they were both caregivers. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, any more discussion? Now we need a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to deny section 402.
Four to three. I believe is what you're insinuating.
I move to deny under section 4023A integrity, moral character, reputation of the applicant.
Is there support?
Is that the only statutory provision, 4023A?
And the non-disclosure.
402 C.
And 402(2)C is the applicant has knowingly submitted an application for a license that contains false information.
Yes.
Okay. It's been moved and supported to deny Holy Crops LLC under the pre-mentioned sections. Any other discussion?
Chairman, just one thing. I'm not sure why we're having a discussion about whatever proclivities are occurring here. We can just make a motion to deny, state the issue, and then move on. I don't know why the propensity for dragging this people through the mud. Know who they are, know what they've done. We've all got the same information in front of us. I don't know why we just continue to want to beat that drum. Make your motion, put down why you think they should be denied, and let's press on here. I'll get it. I like it.
Okay. Okay.
I think we need to create a record going forward of why we're doing this, rather than we just say yes or no.
Yeah, but as it relates to the statute, we don't need all of it.
Yeah, just the statute.
That's all I'm saying. 402, whatever.
My experience would say just stick with the statute for reason.
I agree.
I agree.
Okay. The motion in front of us is to deny Logie Group LLC. Please call roll.
David Lamontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Colbert,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 0 yeses, 5 noes, motion passes.
Number 9,
We
Green.
have 5 yeses, 0.
Yeah, it's a-
Sorry about that.
Okay.
5 yeses.
Number 9, Green Leaf Logistics.
And just for clarification, I'm sorry. With motions to deny, although we don't need a lot of detail, it is helpful to get at least some indication of what the issue is generally, so that should there be a denial and the applicant requests a hearing, they have a sense of what the board was thinking of when they denied, so they can address that. But again, we don't need a lot of detail, but enough so they have a sense of what the issue was would be helpful.
Well, we do have to back up the statutory, you can't just say 402A and move on. And I agree with that. But relating it to the reason. Yeah.
Thank you.
And I still agree that we have to continue to keep the assumption out of the discussions.
Number 9, what's the feeling, Greenleaf Logistics?
Mr. Chairman, I move that Greenleaf Logistics has pre-qualification status for pending application. Second.
Moved and supported to pre-qualify Greenleaf Logistics. Any other discussion? Please call the roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 4 yeses, 1 no, motion passes.
Okay, number 10, Lake Effect Group, pre-qualification for provisioning centers. Wishes of the board.
Mr. Johnson, Chairman Johnson, I make a motion to discuss Lake Effect Group LLC.
Is there support? There is support. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Open for discussion on number
Any
10.
opposed on the motion to discuss?
Opposed.
Okay, number 10, discussion on Lake Effect Group, the provisioning center.
Mr. Chairman, this is an application. It's a provisioning center that's been open for some time. It's been, for the past several years, fully participating in the recreational market, in my estimation. Winning awards recently as June at the High Times Cannabis Cup is an issue. There was also a lawsuit that was just dismissed 2 weeks ago. That was a pretty heinous circumstance that resulted in that lawsuit.
Any other discussion? Okay. Need a motion to address Lake Effect Group.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to deny Lake Effect Group.
With the provision, Don.
Yeah, it's denied. Very good. (402)(3)(a), the integrity, moral character, and reputation of the applicant.
Anything else? That's it?
Yes.
Okay. Motion before us is to deny Lake Effect Group under section 402(3)(a). Any more discussion?
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, if there's no further discussion, then call the roll on a denial for Lake Effect Group.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
Okay, number 11, Oasis Wellness Center, Bangor Township. This is one of many, same applicant. Is there a wish to discuss them all at once? Which board's wishes here?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we discuss the Oasis Wellness Center application in bulk. Other than addresses of the actual establishments, it's all the same information. Yeah, 7B11 to 7B28 related to wellness, Oasis Wellness Center.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to discuss number 11 through 28 numbers. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Okay, motion carries. Open for discussion.
Mr. Chairman, regarding these applications, regarding the Oasis Wellness Center in all of these applications, there were a number of issues that were concerning. Most critically for me was to not disclose arrests that really go to the heart of the regulation of what we're going to be doing going forward with medical marijuana. This is new to everybody. Obviously, this is new to the state. And there's already violations in a somewhat related industry that resulted in convictions. That for me, and they were undisclosed. That for me is very troubling.
Anyone else? Any other discussion? If not, a question for the AG. Do we need to do these individually, or can we do this all as one? Right.
So I think it should be, if your statute is more consistent, if you're different.
I was just going to say, if your statutory reason for denial, if that's how you wish to proceed, it's the same for all. I think you can make one motion as long as it's clear that it applies to all of them. Same being if your wish is to pre-qualify, I think as long as the motion is clear that it applies to all of the applications.
Okay. So is there a motion?
I make a motion, Mr. Chairman, to move to deny Oasis Wellness Center 11 through 28 application. Applicant is not qualified to receive license under the Medical Marijuana Facilities Licensing Act 4023A.
Is there support?
Second.
And just for clarification, under 402(3)A, are we looking at integrity, morals, character, reputation?
Yes.
Some section of those, all 3 of those?
Yep.
Do we need to include the non-disclosure under false information to be consistent with other denials? That would be mine. Good to second that.
Good. Add that to it then?
So I just think it, so that they understand how they can.
I will amend my motion.
Okay.
4022C then.
3A and 2C.
Okay. Been moved and supported to deny applicant 11 through 28 under the same reasons for each and every one of the particular applications. Is there further discussion? Go ahead, call the roll. Roll is to deny.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
And number 29, Southwest Relief Center. Provisioning Center for Pre-Qualification. Any thoughts of the board?
Mr. Johnson, for the purpose of discussion, I would make a motion to discuss the application.
Is there support?
I'll second.
Moved and supported to discuss applicant 29, Southwest Relief Center. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, no. Carries. Open for discussion.
Mr. Chairman, regarding the applicant JC, there were non-disclosed arrests. One of them was a pretty serious charge that he was charged with. And it's certainly not something that I think most people would know about. There were also some civil cases, some of them very recent, that were not disclosed.
Any other comments? If not, we are open for a motion for approval or denial for applicant Southwest Relief Center LLC for pre-qual for provisioning center.
Mr. Chairman, I move to deny Southwest Relief Center LLC under section, that the applicant is ineligible under section 402(2)C. The applicant only submitted a license application containing false information. In section 402(3)A, the integrity, moral character, and reputation of the applicant.
Is there support?
Support.
Moved and supported to deny Southwest Relief Center their pre-qualification for a provisioning center. Any other discussion? Go ahead and call the roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
Number 30. Latest from Kinsey Consulting Inc. Pre-qualification for a provisioning center.
Mr. Chairman, I move that Kinsey Consultant has pre-qualification status for pending application. Okay.
Been moved and supported to pre-qualify Kinsey Consulting. Open for discussion. Hearing none, go ahead and call the roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 4 yeses, 1 no, motion passes.
Okay, now. Okay, now, agenda item number 7C. These are, I don't know if I'm wrong, these are for phase 2. Like that.
Mr. Chairman, it's a combination.
There's like 4, I believe, that are pre-quals, those are.
Correct, if they have a related ownership with system together.
Okay. First one is, item 1, under 7C, Motus Inc. State operating license for a secure transport. Open for discussion.
And this applicant was previously granted pre-qualification status on April 19th. So what we would need would be a motion to either grant or deny the facility application.
I move to grant Otis Inc. application for license.
Yeah, that is.
Support.
Okay, so moved and supported to grant Otis Inc. a state operating license for a secure transporter. Any discussion at all? Hearing none. Call the roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
Number 2, Choice Labs Inc. for a state operating license for Class C growth.
This applicant was granted pre-qualification status on July 12th. So again, what we would need would be a motion either to grant or deny the facility license.
Make a motion, Brian.
Support.
Moved and supported to grant Choice Labs Inc. a state operating license as a Class C grower. Any discussion? Hearing none, call roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
Okay, next, number 3 is Choice Labs Inc., a state operating license for a provisioning center.
Motion to approve. Motion to grant Choice Labs.
Is there support?
Support.
Moved and supported to approve Choice Labs Inc., a state operating license for a provisioning center. Any discussion?
This applicant again was pre-qualified in July.
Please call the roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
Number 4, the applicant is Blue Soul Biomedical LLC, a state operating license for Class C growth. Wishes of the board.
This applicant was pre-qualified in July 12th. So again, we would need a motion either to grant or deny the facility license.
Move to grant, Mr. Chairman.
There's support. There's support. It's been moved and supported to grant a operating license to Blue Soul Biomedical LLC for a provisioning license. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
No.
Chairman Johnson, you have 4 yeses, 1 no, motion passes.
Applicant number 5, Pure Green LLC, a state operating license for a process.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant third grade state operating license.
Is there support?
Second.
Been moved and supported to grant a state operating license to Pure Green LLC as a processor. Application was approved on April 19th. With pre-qual. Any discussion? Hearing none, call roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
Okay, number 6, applicant is Humblebee Products LLC for state operating license for a provisioning center.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant Humblebee Products state operating license for a provisioning center.
Second.
It's been moved and supported to grant Humblebee Products a provisioning license from the state of Michigan. Any discussion? This was also pre-qual on July 12th.
Mr. Chairman, I would I take issue with a couple of things in the report that we saw here. One of the issues regarding the regulation that's required, and it's going to be required in this industry that is required. We can't be everywhere all the time to make sure that people are doing things correctly. There was a Bureau of Fire Safety inspection in May, and 20 deficiencies were noted that needed to be corrected. That in and of itself is not that big a deal, as long as you correct them, you do so in a timely way. 9 weeks later, when they went back for an inspection, which I'm not quite sure why we didn't know about this in our July 12th board meeting, because this happened on July 5th. They had started building out a processing center, which they had not even submitted plans for. And the 20 deficiencies from the BFS report from May that had not even been addressed. That's a real problem for me, particularly when we talk about the regulation of the stuff going forward. And if you see, we noticed some of the pictures from the DNR investigation report from the processing center. One of the things that we have to be cognizant of, and the reason that we're here and doing this, is for the safety of the public. And when you look at those pictures, that's far from it.
Okay, any other discussion? The motion is to approve.
Mr. Chairman, I'm curious if the department shares the same concerns that Board Member Bailey does.
Thank you. So a couple of things I noticed during the investigation. Early on, the processing of the THCA crystals or diamonds that was occurring in that processor at the time when BFS noticed that, that did lead us to put out a bulletin to the general public, just clarifying that the process in which that Bureau of Fire Services had seen the crystals being produced was not done in the manner that was compliant with the NFPA 1 of 2018 Fire Code. The big thing is it's just not a listed process, and has not been evaluated in the way that they were doing it by engineers as required. However, after they were advised of that deficiency in the fire report, they did cease operations as they were asked. The processor did comply. We reviewed video. We did unannounced and announced compliance checks. We conducted interviews. We saw no evidence of non-compliance after they were told to stop that activity that was deemed as dangerous. So they did listen. They also, in the EMR investigation reports, they did show ways of improvement on how to improve their processing construction. They did seek professional assistance and help to correct some of those deficiencies that were found back in May and July. Also, with the provisioning center itself, they did come in compliance with the fire inspection, which is why they're eventually brought back in front of the board. So we did see a general progression of compliance investigation going forward.
Sorry. The question was, did you guys share the same concerns as him? So the answer is no.
My recommendation would be no.
Did you say no?
I do not share the same concerns. Yeah.
Makes a difference.
Well, we've seen a number of these where there have been deficiencies. That in itself, not an initial inspection, is not necessary. We've also seen in a number of the applications that we've looked at, within a week, there's a re-inspection where those things are fixed. And certainly that indicates that there's somebody who's trying to do the right thing. Yeah, they maybe did it wrong a little bit the first time, but now they've got it straight. A week later, we've seen a number of those. And this one was 9 weeks later on the re-inspection. And those 20 issues have still not been addressed. And not only have they not been addressed, but a processor center was being built out that had never been approved by VFS as required. And so that goes to my concern about having to constantly police these folks as they're going forward. We can't do that. We don't have the manpower. We need people to do the right thing because it's in the law and it's in the regulations. And if we identify somebody who's stepping outside of that, my position is they shouldn't have a license.
Just a point of clarification from me. I think also too, when they realized that they had those deficiencies in the processor, they focused their capabilities on the provisioning center, which is, I believe, what's up today. Yeah. So I think what they did is they, based off their actions, what we found in our investigation reports, they focused their correcting their deficiencies on the provisioning center and put pause on the processor until they can get professional help to correct the rest. And that's, post the July 5th inspection. And as far as our teams go, we do see a variance of some do correct deficiencies right away and some do not. And sometimes it's based off the operational tempo of what their business can handle. But just that's all I just wanted to add.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other discussion? It is to approve. No other discussion? Go ahead and call roll.
David Lamontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 4 yeses, 1 no, motion passes.
The applicant number 7, I may not get this name quite right, it looks to me like Symbiotic LLC. What is it? Gotcha. So Cannabis Backwards LLC. They're up for pre-file and a state operating license holder, correct?
Yes, 2 licenses.
Under two different LLC names. The first one is Savannah or Savannah, I don't know how to say it. Cannabis Backwards,
Okay.
and that's for provisioning center, pre-qualification and state operating license.
This is just for a provisioning center.
Correct. And it is both pre-qualification and state operating license.
Okay.
And then the related entity, which is on the agenda as number 8, would be for pre-qualification only, with the same individuals involved.
Okay.
So we should probably do them separate.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to grant vote to the annex.
That's a pre-qual and state operating license for a provisioning center. There's support.
So you can just do a motion to grant the license, and that would include pre-qualification for those that haven't already been pre-qualified. Just for clarity.
Thank you. To grant license.
I'll support it. Any discussion?
Mr. Chairman, regarding Savannah Ventures LLC, there was an issue with just on the west side of the state where the drug team over there we met became involved a couple of years ago with the owners of at the time it was it was the same entity with different owners, and now under the new application, the owners that were subject to police action, that were arrested, were first listed as volunteers on this application, and then that was changed and upgraded to consultants. Given that what they did in the past, in the MMFLA, the violations and the police action that had to be taken, I would move that they're not qualified under the 2016 Act. In addition to, if you look at their logo, for, they're gonna be doing business with Emerald City. Their logo says Emerald City Cultivate, Medicate, Recreate. We don't have recreation, we have medical marijuana. And that may change in November, but that's not the situation we find ourselves in today.
There's already a motion back to approve. Okay. Any other discussion on motion? If not, call roll.
David Lamontagne,
No.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
No.
Donald Bailey,
No,
Chairman Rick Johnson.
No.
Chairman Johnson, you have 1 yes, 4 no's, motion fails.
We need a motion to deny.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to deny.
There's support.
I was gonna finish that.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Savannah Ventures LLC is ineligible for an application under section 402(2)(C) and 402(3)(A), integrity, moral character, and reputation of the applicant.
Moved and supported to deny Symbionic LLC under the stated sections. Any more discussion? Call roll. Motion is to deny.
And just for clarification, with 402(2)(C, were there failures to disclose in the application that you could just briefly point out so that the board is, so that there's some clarity?
You did. You did, Michelle.
I think the prior discussion was about the previous owners and the logo.
I'm sorry, you're right. It would be simply 402(3)(A).
Nothing. I was looking at this. I guess anyway.
And Mr. Lamontagne, again, do you agree with the motion as
I
it
do.
stands? Thank you.
There's no other discussion. Call roll.
David Lamontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
No.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 4 yeses, 1 no, motion passes.
Okay, number 8, Greenville Sourcing LLC, a pre-qualification for a Class A grow.
Yeah. They're gonna supply the.
And this is for pre-qualification only of Greenville sourcing.
423A.
Second.
Moved and supported to deny Greenville Sourcing a pre-qualification for a Class A grow.
And to be clear, under 402(3)(A, it says integrity, moral character, and reputation or the use.
Same as seven. Please call the roll.
David Lamontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
No.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 4 yeses, 1 no, motion passes.
Number 9, R-PTN River Rouge LLC, a pre-qual and state operating license for a provisioning center. Wishes.
This entity is not yet pre-qualified, so a motion to grant pre-qualification would include, or I'm sorry, a motion to grant the license would include pre-qualification should you wish to grant the license.
Wish to make a motion? I'll move that we grant pre-qualification and a state operating license to R-PTN River Rouge.
I'll support.
Been moved and supported to grant a license with a pre-qualification included to R-PTN River Rouge LLC as a provisioning center. Any other discussion? Please call the roll.
David Lamontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 4 yeses, 1 no, motion passes.
Number 10, the applicant is DAP Synergy LLC. It's for a provisioning center. A pre-quality included and granted a state operating license. Wishes of the board.
And Mr. Chairman, if I could point out, Mr. Kim, has been pre-qualified under another entity. I just want to bring that to your attention, and that's the one that follows for state licensure.
Okay. Been moved and supported to grant to DAP Synergy LLC a pre-qual and a state operating license for a provisioning center. Discussion.
So motion's going to cover 10 and 11 or just 10?
That's 10.
Just 10. So it's not for the license.
So this is a motion to grant a license for a state operating license for a provisioning center. And the motion to grant in this case would include pre-qualification since the applicant is not yet pre-qualified.
Any other discussion?
Just to be clear, I'm sorry, one of the 2 owners was previously pre-qualified, but this is a different entity with 2 owners, one of whom has not yet been considered. So no pre-qualification at this point.
Mr. Chairman, regarding this application that I spoke about, the pre-qualification for the applicant, PK, he's been involved in the 2008 MMFLA for years, and doing so stepping out of bounds in 2008. There was processing equipment for $50,000 that was purchased 2 years before that was legal within the state. And he also financed an operation in Kentucky that is questionably legal for another marijuana product. You're looking over the marketing plan where you see that they're advertising products for pets. And that's something that's not contemplated under the 16 law. I just think this is going to be one that's going to be very difficult to police within the rules of the law.
Anyone else?
Again, another question, was it illegal to purchase the equipment?
Purchasing the property, that's a good question. Of using it, which he was doing in the process, where that's the problem.
Well, a caregiver grows and processes, some do. So as a caregiver, he could have processed as a caregiver for his patient.
At March of 2015. That's when the equipment was purchased in March of 2015. Those things didn't become legal process product from marijuana product.
So was
So
the
until
evidence,
2016.
was there any evidence that he was recent?
He was producing the product.
I don't recall that,
You ever all see that?
not in 2015. Was that in the report? I don't recall it. That he was processing, utilizing that machine to process.
As a caregiver.
he was licensed to do.
Correct, he was a caregiver at that time period.
Okay, anything else? The motion is to approve. Go ahead and call the roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
No.
Chairman Johnson, you have 3 yeses, 2 noes, motion passes.
Okay, number 11, Filio Manufacturing Strategies for a state operating license as a processor. Of the same owners.
This is one of the same owners, and this entity was pre-qualified on July 12th. So what we would need would be a motion to grant or deny the state operating license for a processor.
Move the grant application.
Support. Moved and supported to grant Filio Manufacturing Strategy a state operating license for a process. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chairman, I would just reassert the conversation in the previous application.
Okay. Anything else? Call the roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
No.
Chairman Johnson, you have 3 yeses, 2 noes, motion passes.
Number 12 is Cheston Elite Provisioning Inc. for a provisioning center, both for creek plow and state operating license. Questions?
And I'd just like to point out that items 12 to 14 have the same individual involved in all 3. The owner in the first is the corporation, and then the individual is the owner of the entity in items 13 and 14.
Okay. Any wishes of the board?
Mr. Chairman. As it pertains to agenda items 12, 13, and 14, I move to deny the application under 402(2)C,
Okay,
non-disclosures.
is that just for 12 or 13?
That's 12, 13, and 14, the same person.
Okay. Is there support?
Support.
Discussion. Hearing none. This is on for both 12, 13, and 14. For denial. Call the roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
Okay, moves us to number 15. Okay, number 15 is a pre-qualification and a state operating license for Steadfast LLC. Wishes of the board.
Grant the application. Mr. Chairman.
There's support. Moved and supported to grant the application to Steadfast LLC for a pre-qual and a state operating license. Discussion. Roll call roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
Number 16 is the Volunteer Enterprises, Inc. for a safety compliance facility.
Move to grant. Second.
Dave's been moved to grant the pre-qualification state operating license to Volunteer Enterprises, Inc. Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, there are many issues that cross over here with another application, even though they're on paper, they're separate. I don't believe there's as much separation as they want, for sure. Through the BMMR investigation, we found that we had drop boxes for marijuana for testing spread throughout the state, and there's absolutely no way that could happen if we have. The labs have to go out and collect those things. And one of the issues on the application, when they asked about the collection of those drop boxes, who collected it, we were at the BMMR investigation, they will find out that those drop boxes were being used for about 1.5 years, and they asked who was picking up those samples and how exactly that worked, and they weren't able to cover the entire period that they were in use. And that's a huge problem with all these regulations, getting people to voluntarily follow them. And these things were operating, these drop boxes, up until August, July or August. They also participate pretty heavily in the recreational market, which we don't have yet. And that's been going on for years. And it's something I think goes to how they're going to react and apply the 2016 law and regulations.
Any other discussion? None. Motion is to approve Volunteer Enterprises for a pre-qual and a state operating license for a safety compliance facility. Please call the roll.
David LaMontagne.
No.
Vivian Picard.
Yes.
Nicole Cover.
No.
Donald Bailey.
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 2 yeses, 3 noes, motion fails.
Okay, we need a motion to deny.
Is it possible that we just do a pre-qualification so we can see if that's going to be rectified?
Good point.
This is a step 2, Mr. Hammond, for that.
Thanks. So the drop boxes did stop. The picking up of the samples throughout the state, in fact, did stop shortly thereafter when we noticed that on their website and on social media. They did do that on their own before we started our investigation. They did stop it on their own. The challenge, though, is we did ask who the individual was that was picking up the samples. And the information that we received was an individual that covered the time period of November 2017 to approximately August of 2018. But what we were not given during that interview was who made those pickups between the approximate time of when that was posted on social media. They had that service from June of 2017 to November of 2017. So that time period was not provided to us.
And when you were asking those questions, you wanted to know the entire time period.
We did, and it was made clear to us that it was just one person, but we were not given the time period of which that is missing.
So right now we,
Your question as to whether you one
so that we can go back and look and see.
This applicant has moved forward as, with the full application for the state operating license as opposed to just pre-qualification. So at this point, we would need a motion to either grant or deny the state operating license, which would also encompass pre-qualification either way.
So they have passed inspections. For BFS, they have passed inspections for enforcement for PMMR. So at this point, there's nothing further for us to do on them as an investigatory process. It would be compliance going forward if they were granted a license. And it would be regularly inspected by both enforcement and I think fire safety as well during the year.
Can you address the recreational component? Did you find anything that they didn't do?
It was not a main component of our investigation. I would have to look at the specific imagery of what we did provide. There were communications made from potential clients or personnel that were communicating with persons, potentially to communicate with persons that were not the applicant.
Was it something? Mr. Chairman, can we table this one until the end until you review?
Sure.
We'll come back to it. Is that okay? I motion to table it until the end. We'll come back.
Moved and supported to table, number 16, Almatir Enterprises Inc. to, the end of the, applications.
And withdraw the motion.
Currently no motion on the table.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
Motion, or applicant is tabled to the end. Number 17, exclusive brands.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to grant.
Support.
It's been moved and supported to grant exclusive brands LLC a Class A grow pre-qual as approved for the state operating license. Any discussion? Please call the roll.
Are we gonna do these together?
17 and 18.
18 the same.
I will amend my motion to include 17 and 18.
It's the same file.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, the motion is to approve both 17 and 18 exclusive brands, one provisioning, the other Class A grow. Go ahead, call the roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
Number 19, Green Cure Wellness Inc. Pre-qualification and a state operating license for a provisioning center.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move the grant.
Second.
Is there discussion? Please call the roll to grant Green Cure Wellness Inc. pre-qualification and a state operating license for provisioning center.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 4 yeses, 1 no, motion passes.
Okay, number 20, 19533 West Warren Inc. A pre-qualification and a state operating license for a provisioning center. Wishes. Questions?
So this applicant is not yet pre-qualified, so a motion to grant, should you choose to make one, would also include pre-qualification.
Chairman, I will make a motion to approve, yes.
There's support. There is support. Motion is to grant 19533 West Warren a tree plow and a state operating license for provisioning center. Is there any other discussion?
I do want to also point out that the same owners are involved in item number 21, the next one on the agenda.
We already have a motion on this.
Sure. Well, that was pre-qualification only, in a different file number. Point noted, but if we see anything wrong with 20, we would just roll it.
Right. Just so you're aware.
Yep.
Motion is to grant. Go ahead, call roll.
David Lamontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Prober,
Yeah.
Donald Bailey,
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 4 yeses, 1 no, motion passes.
Next one is 21.
Move to grant.
Support been moved and supported to grant pre-qualification to 13775 Buena Vista LLC.
And this is just pre-qualification, just to clarify. Thank you.
Go ahead, call roll.
David Lamontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Prober,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 4 yeses, 1 no, motion passes.
22 is the station provisioning center for pre-plow and a state operating license for a provisioning center. Wishes?
Mr. Chairman, I support.
What we would need is a motion.
I move to support, I'm sorry. Providing licensing.
So that would be a motion to grant the state
Yes, to
operating
grant it.
license.
Correct.
Thank you.
Okay.
Moved and supported to grant the station's provisioning center both a pre-plow with state operating license, a provisioning center. Any discussion? Hearing none, call the roll.
David Lamontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Prober,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 4 yeses, 1 no, motion passes.
Okay, number 23, the applicant is You the Man. Wait a second. All the Man? LLC, both a pre-qualification and a state operating license for a provision center. Thoughts and wishes, Mr. Church? Sure. Been moved and supported to grant a pre-qual and a state operating license to UL Demand Provisioning Center. Right, call roll.
David Lamontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Prober,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
Okay, number 24 is 3389 South Huron LLC to grant a pre-qualification and a state operating license for a provisioning center. Chairman will move to grant 3389 South Huron LLC a pre-qual for a state operating license for the provisioning center.
Support.
Moved and supported.
So this is a motion, I'm sorry, a motion to grant the license as well as pre-qualification.
Yep. Any discussion? Hearing none, call roll.
David Lamontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Prober,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
Okay, number 25, the landfills transport. State operating license for secure transport.
Move the grant.
Second.
Moved and supported. Grant the landfills transport a state operating license for a secure transporter. Any discussion?
This entity was pre-qualified on July 12th.
Call roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Colbert,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
Okay, number 26, Reedsville Provisioning Center. Both a pre-qualification and a state operating license for a provisioning center.
Move the group, Mr. Chairman.
There's support. Any discussion? Motion is to grant pre-qual and state operating license to Reedsville Provisioning Center. Call roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Colbert,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
27, Tasselmeyer Holdings Corp. A pre-qual and a state operating license for a provisioning center.
Mr. Chairman, I move to deny Tasselmeyer Holding license. Provision work. Other provisional center. 402, 402-2C and 402-3A.
It's been moved to deny Tasselmeyer Holding Corporation a pre-qual and state operating license. Any further discussion?
Just for clarity, is 402-3A based on integrity, moral character, and reputation, or some other?
Yes.
Okay, call the roll, please.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Colbert,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
Alternative Gardens LLC, 28, pre-qualification and a state operating license for a provisioning center. Wishes.
Mr. Chairman, I move to deny the application. 402-2C.
Second.
Moved and supported to deny number 28, Alternative Gardens. Any discussion? That was under 402.
2C.
2C.
Roughly denies.
Okay. Call roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Colbert,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
Yes.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 5 yeses, motion passes.
29. Green Sunrise Products. A pre-qual and a state operating license for a provisioning center.
Mr. Chairman, it's 2930, the same outfit.
I believe so.
Yes.
Or one's just a pre-call.
Right, 29 is for a state operating license for a provisioning center, and 30 is for a state operating license for grower class C.
30 is only pre-qualification.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's the same outfit.
Correct, same owner.
If there's any issues with 29 and the rule.
Move to deny 29 and 30 based on the non-disclosure of 402-2C.
Support.
Much as it pains me for this outfit's board of youth action, I cannot open up this disclosure business.
Any other discussion? Second?
Yes. I did.
Any discussion? That's just for 29. Okay, call roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
No.
Chairman Johnson, you have 3 yeses, 2 noes, motion passes.
Number 31, Home Medicine LLC for a pre-qualification state operating license in a provisioning center, 4A provisioning center.
Move the grant, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
It's been moved and supported to grant Home Medicine a operating and pre-qualification license for provision. Any questions or discussion?
Mr. Chairman, regarding this one and their operation under the 2008 MMFLA, there's been an extreme amount of money that was paid that was not allowed under the 2008 law. And that's, for the past couple of years, spread across the applicants in this application. The 2008 law was all about passion, it wasn't about making money. That's what this 2016 law does. And for that reason, I think it's problematic that they made all this money that wasn't even taxed going forward in the regulated market.
Any other comment? Motion is to approve. Please call roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cover,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 4 yeses, 1 no, motion passes.
Yeah, now we go back to the issue of the table.
Volunteer.
The lab.
We'll need a motion to untable first.
Support? All in favor on table, say aye.
Aye.
Same. Okay, we're back to discussion. Volunteer.
Sure. So 2 things I was able to find during that time. I believe what we do have in the screenshots from social media is references to cannabis stuff in high times. Nothing more than that when it comes to the potentiality for the wreck. It wasn't this angle of our investigation. But we do have that. Whether or not that is evidence of dealing with the wreck environment, leave that to the board. And also, my team advises, even though that we had interviews and proof that 2 locations of the drop boxes were picked up by the applicant. However, the advertisement for those drop boxes are still on social media at this time. They are on Facebook at this time and Instagram. Does that really mean that they're there in reality? Can't ascertain that. I can just tell you that they're still being advertised on social media. So we would have to do further investigation to confirm or deny whether those that are still being advertised are still being picked up or used in actuality.
Through your investigation, did you see any advertising for abracadabs, which is a recreational event? Secret stash, there's several of those that they have around. Did you see anything for those
I would have to look into the evidence that we presented to the board.
The other thing on a drop off, north of Flint, there's a pretty noteworthy recreational market venue there. And that was listed as one of the drop off place. And I got that out of your investigation.
You know which one that is?
There's my note.
What was interesting, some of these drop-offs were horticultural centers. Not granted, this was, before the emergency rules came out and a lot of the rules, so there was a lot of activities happening that, until we got into the regular environment, we're in some sort of gray area.
So the rules came out first week of December of last year. So everybody had an idea. They could look at those and see the path that they needed to get on to get down the road to a regulated market. And they had access to that. It was pretty well known. I think they even got released before they were ready for public consumption. I saw a copy on the internet posted confidential before they were signed by the governor. So they've been out there for a long time. I still think that this is going to be a problem. There's a lawsuit that is somewhat related from another applicant. And I think it goes to the integrity and moral character of this operation.
Just one more comment. And with that timeline, we did ascertain through our interview and the evidence that we saw that the drop boxes were being utilized after the emergency rules did come out.
Thank you.
Any wishes from anyone? Move on to,
So we previously had a motion to grant that failed, so we would need a new motion to grant or deny the license. And I just want to point out, it's important to remember that you should consider the activities of the actual applicants as opposed to those that may be related based on the information in front of you.
So that's my question. They went back for the inspection and they met the requirements. They said the two drop boxes have been removed or whatever. They were affiliated with somebody in Las Vegas, so they did these drop boxes and that's where they got the idea. But this is a one applicant or husband and wife. So is it you pre-qualify just that? Would we just pre-qualify it and then do an inspection before? It just seems like a lot of this I didn't read. So is it hearsay? Is it?
So the
I don't know anything about
applicant,
lawsuit. I don't really care about lawsuits. I just think it's two people that we just need to say, here's what you need to do to come back, or here's what you're going to be approved or denied. I feel like there's a lot of like. You almost want them to see it at the microphone and ask them questions. I feel like we're putting words.
That would, at this point, they've asked for a full license, I'm sure, so the motion would be to deny, and then essentially they have the opportunity to go to hearing, which would be their opportunity to explain the issues that you put forward today.
So we're denying based on.
Well, you haven't made a motion yet, but if you were to deny, I'm just saying, if you wanted to pre-qualify only, that's not what they've asked.
Gotcha. So they did it all. They're the ones who.
Is it possible for us to table it and have a police address and identify the things that they see that they were actually doing illegally? Actually be specific to have them be, and that way we're not basing it on assumptions.
you look like you're gonna speak.
Well, they passed inspection. They passed inspection for the Bureau, and they passed inspection for PFS. I think the only thing Mr. Hanna mentioned was that there was still something on Facebook that may or may not have been taken down regarding delivery. We don't have any information that they're currently doing that.
That might not even be known.
I think that was addressed by Mr. Hanna, the son of the applicant was handling the Facebook operations for a period of time.
The son of the application.
No, he's
The
not.
son of the application.
No, he's not.
So,
But then, what she said was that she has taken that over, but doesn't know the process. And,
My kids would know the process.
so that was the son that posted it on Facebook. That's not on the application.
and even after the son who claimed that there's no involvement, somebody's continuing to utilize the platform, and the applicant says it's not her.
Correct, there was a discrepancy. 2 seconds to find it, I appreciate it. So we did ask the applicant and owner who handles social media, and the applicant advised that both of her sons have in the past explained that they're not on the payroll, or they have their website and Facebook. She estimated the timeline, however, Louise, about 1 to 2 months ago, that account information was turned over to the applicant to manage it. Now, this interview was conducted on July 26th. So if that timeline is correct from what we were given, 1 to 2 months prior, the applicant owner would have control of social media. She did advise that she didn't know how to operate it, planned on learning to use it. However, we have images that show that someone was still posting for the applicant on social media as of May 5th, May 25th, and July 9th, which kind of we didn't have an answer as to who was actually making those postings. And again, the post that's up there today for the drop boxes that they were doing in the past is up right now on Facebook. But again, whether or not that shows that they're still utilizing beyond the fact that they picked up the drop boxes at 2 locations out to do for them.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we rescind the vote based on the additional information that we have here. The vote to.
There was no vote. There was a motion, there was no motion that passed. There was a motion to grant and it failed. So you would need to make a new motion either to grant or to deny based on statutory provisions.
I make a motion to grant.
Support.
Okay, it's been moved and supported to grant a pre-qualification of the state operating license to Volunteer Enterprises. More discussion. Go ahead and call the roll.
David LaMontagne,
Yes.
Vivian Picard,
Yes.
Nicole Cober,
Yes.
Donald Bailey,
No.
Chairman Rick Johnson.
Yes.
Chairman Johnson, you have 4 yeses, 1 no. Motion passes.
Department report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Appreciate again your diligence in reviewing this information. It's been a long meeting, so I'll try and keep my report brief. In terms of a statistical update, I have been keeping track as we've been going today, so I give you a more complete sense of where we stand. The application data is as of 9/7, which is last Friday. So pre-qualifications, we have received 702. The board has approved 73 and denied 53. Class A growers, we've received 23. The board has approved 1 and denied 0.
Class B growers, we have received 4. None of those have been presented to the board as of yet. Class C growers, 161 have been received, 6 have been approved, none denied. Processors, 49 received, 4 approved, 0 denied. Provisioning centers, 147 received, 19 approved, 8 denied. Secure transporters, 10 received, 3 approved, 0 denied. And safety compliance facilities, we've received 7, 4 have been approved, and 0 denied. We also at this point have 108 municipalities that have adopted ordinances to opt in under the MMFLA. Any questions about any of those numbers? In terms of communication bulletins, we issued a few bulletins since the last meeting. On the 10th of August, we issued one about THCA, crystal or diamond processing. On the 15th of August, we issued a safety compliance facility testing guide. I mentioned that at the last meeting. That's essentially a compilation of the rules that pertain specifically to testing and to labs, and the bulletins that we previously released filed into one place. On 8/17, we issued a bulletin on edible marijuana products. On September 4th, we issued guidance on patient and caregiver requirements for facilities. And we also posted a couple bulletins on the website with our partners at Metric regarding Metric training and the entry and beginning inventory for new facility operators. Questions there? Regulatory assessment. It is September, so it's time to set the regulatory assessment for fiscal year 19. That will be set at $66,000. That is to cover the appropriated expenditures under Section 603 of the MMFLA. That includes LAR's costs implemented, administered, and enforce the Act, legal services provided to the Department by the Attorney General, marijuana-related services provided to the Department by MSP, marijuana-related services provided to the Department by the Department of Treasury, LAR expenditures for licensing substance abuse or substance use disorder programs, an allocation to the Department of Health and Human Services for substance abuse-related expenditures, including prevention, education, and treatment, expenses related to standardized field sobriety tests, and the administrative costs for the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement Standards. So any fees assessed as of October 1st for each facility license would be $66,000. Fiscal 18 was $48,000. The essence of that increase is now we have all of the statutorily authorized expenditures now being appropriated in the fiscal 19 budget, as well as funding a full year of operations for the regulatory program. Questions there? Okay. On to administrative rules. As we put out the bulletins and press releases, the draft administrative rules are published to the Office of Regulatory Reinvention website. Those are a permanent rule set, so to speak. They do have a 2-year sunset. Those are intended to take the place of the emergency rules. On that website, the request for rulemaking and the regulatory impact statement are also available. The Bureau will host a public hearing on the proposed rules on the 17th of September at 9:30 a.m. right in this room. We also will accept written comments until 5 p.m. on September 21st. I want to emphasize that is not a board meeting. That is a meeting intended specifically to hear comments on the proposed rule set. We'll have open forum for discussion on collect any feedback. We'll have a stenographer there. And we'd like to encourage everyone, if you have written comments to submit, that you can submit those as well. But we will leave the floor open for any comments on the proposed rule set. Any questions on that? And then lastly, on administrative rules, I do want to make known that the Bureau anticipates issuing a new set of emergency rules extending the temporary operation deadline for certain operators soon. We will provide further information on the details of those rules when they become finalized and become effective. Any questions there? That's all I have.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public comment. Keith Olson.
As a reminder, we would ask members of the public who wish to speak to avoid discussing facts about any particular case. We'll need to ask you to stop. as the board needs to consider the information it has before it through the investigation and application and deciding on applications. Also, public comment is an opportunity to present your comments to the board rather than an opportunity for a dialogue with the board or question and answer session.
So hi, I'm Keith. I'm from CRAP, Criminalized Racketeering Against Patients. Policies the BMMR has made destroyed our voter initiative. MMFLA is not MMFLA. Our initiatives have been disregarded. 1 year, the patients, all the sick, ill, dying patients, have had their rights to the serve. The patients of Michigan are officially requested an injunction be placed upon this board. Arkansas hired a firm that did all their applications and all their applications. There's no reason it should sit here. And say, public officials are granted the power to make decisions about people's livelihoods. You can charge for 250,000 people health care. You all must be held accountable. I think we all agree on that. We can also all agree that one of the bad apples is full of sad story. A person with mid-shooting steroids, beating women, harassing phone calls, stalking his wife and children so bad they had to leave the country, assaulting patients, knocking veterans out of wheelchairs. A man who forces his daughter to dress him, accused of inappropriately touching his daughter. Talking about a Snyder appointed MMR government official making moral judgments affecting thousands of people's livelihoods. Don Bailey, I'm calling you out. Bad moral character.
There'll be
40238.
no personal attacks while you're addressing this board.
This is no personal attack, sir. I'm calling attention to the board. I have some documents here in my hand, public record documents,
Thank you, sir.
that prove Donald
Time is up.
steroids
Time is up.
appropriately touching his daughter.
Next is Denise Oshua. Is it all right, please?
Good morning, or afternoon, but I'm not sure. Thank you for allowing us to speak. These applications are clearly document intensive, and I understand that Laura and the board, the MMR, are doing the best to make very difficult, incredibly important decision for a lot of these applicants. Based on volumes of information that are taking some applicants months to put together, I understand that the appeal process has been delegated over to Michigan administrative hearings. I would respectfully recommend that the board and Laura and BMR reconsider doing a private hearing or a public hearing where the applicants can actually come back before the board and bringing this process as far as an appeal, administrative appeal of the initial denial before the board or an internal executive board of law, and not outsourcing it to Michigan Administrative Appeals. These appeals take months and months and months. It leaves a lot of the applicants who've been denied a license sort of in limbo for quite a long time. And I would request that we try to figure out a better way to do some administrative appeals and hearings as far as this particular licensing process in a more expedient, potentially internal manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Rick Thompson.
Thank you very much. I know you don't owe us any kind of interaction, but I was a little confused by what the director just said. I think he implied that the September 15th deadline is going to be extended, and that there will not be a hard reset for the industry. I would love a little bit of extra clarification. just to make sure that media and all of the folks that are reporting back to the patients in the state are actually able to get the information correct. So if at some point we could get a clarification, that'd be great. I'm also concerned about some of the comments I've heard here from board members raising concerns that the Bureau itself doesn't share, sounding alarm bells over minor issues. The BMMR screens out these applicants who don't qualify prior to them coming to this particular board. So when the board takes it upon themselves to try and determine the criminality of the applicants without any further investigation, that seems hollow. That seems more like the straw man situation that we sometimes hear about here too. I'll also point out that if there's known non-compliance with the Michigan Medical Marijuana Act, that is a police issue and arrests should be made. When you imply that someone's been doing something incorrectly for years, but they've never been arrested for it, you're saying the police are not doing their job. And that seems inappropriate and incorrect. You can't determine someone's business behavior simply from an application that they put forth to you. If the BMMR does their due diligence and screens all these people before they arrive, and then we have all this extra level of scrutiny that's provided afterwards, that's incorrect. We've also seen that it doesn't appear that sometimes people are being treated the same. We have people that have been in operation for some time that are questioned, other people that have been in operation for some time that are not questioned. So there's an inconsistency here that I think we really need to rectify. I'd also like to say with regards to the September 15th deadline with emergency rules, if in fact it's not extended and there is a hard reset to the industry, I'd love it if BMMR was able to publish a listing of all of the centers they visited that are currently open and operating, so we would know how many in each one of those 5 categories are currently serving patients and which ones are potentially. Thank you.
Michael, Pat, right, Michael?
Hello, I'm Michael Patlack. I'm the owner of Scotch.com LLC. We're one of the few metric certified groups that reside in Michigan. We are a custom software provider to help for compliance. One of the troubles that we've had recently is we're trying to get into the secure transport sector. It seems like metric does not have any for this yet. We've tried to contact Randwell directly through their support, and they do not have any training or guidance that can provide in the process. We've contacted their API department as well multiple times, but have no answers on how to do this through the integration process. So we're building a platform for secure transporters that we believe follows the transfers API that's available in other states. It's superset of our compliance. We also have not been able to get the training that a business would receive after they've gotten their license. That seems backwards, that an integrator is not providing the tools they need to know what is actually required for compliance and how businesses need to operate in a compliant way. So anything that we can do to kind of help the integrators is training and understanding what the system goes from. Very helpful.
Thank you. Jim Schuler.
Good morning. Tim Schuler, representing Atlantis Transport. Before you even also go asking to speed up the process and asking Laura to help us understand how to get moving. You approved this today, so thank you very much for that. I just wanted to comment that Laura did an outstanding job of understanding our businesses and what we had to do to get licenses. And I just wanted to say thank you. We believe it's an important segment for the system that you set up to have secure transport to make sure that we check and balance of how much people are growing and how much people are selling. So we appreciate your time.
And my good friend Jeffrey, thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and board. Also want to say thank you for speeding things up today. After my last public comments, I realized, I think it was Mr. Bailey who said that, hey, you're just processing what's given to you, so I'll thank Mr. Brisboe for maybe speeding things up this time and put more people here before today. Because what's happened is people are getting let drive because the process is so slow. People seem to be operating business, making income, hiring employees, and a lot of people are losing a lot of money because it's a slow process. So one thing that can be done to speed it up is instead of waiting 5 or 6 months, from a suggestion, get some of these basic questions Why not just ask them from the start, make them part of the application? If you're 5 months in, you have 10 people on an application, you get a set of questions, everyone's going to go back and get 10 other sets of business records. It's kind of a bureaucratic way to. Also want to say the proposed rule that will allow home delivery to patients on provision centers is about convenience, it's practical, it's reasonable, it's the kind of thing that we ought to be doing. Secure transport is totally unnecessary. The only states with it, it's a creature of lying, it's not a creature of necessity. So the more you can do to eliminate secure transport and allow people to interact directly with stores is a good thing. And lastly, regarding September 15th, we really could use that extension and a clear answer on when that will extend to, because again, planning for people in business, you have to know what's happening. You have to know how long things can take, you have a budget, you have employees, people go on unemployment. So we're potentially at cost to taxpayers, which could be avoided with simple planning. California is undergoing a similar situation right now in the transportation rate market to a more regulated market. They've extended their temporary emergency rules. So to the extent there could be some clarification on that today, probably not go to at least December. I think you should probably out March. We're about 6 months, another 6 months, there ought to be enough people go through the process where we'll have a functioning system.
Thank you. That's all we have.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you.
You're going to have to say your name.
Devin Loker.
Devin?
Yep. Just wanted to echo a few things from Rick and Denise here. If we could find some kind of internal expedited process for the appeals process, there's comment that it's just going to a hearing. It's a very expensive and time-intrusive hearing. If there's a different way that we can expedite that, I think it would really benefit not just the applicants, but the local municipalities, many of them who have a pecking order, so to speak, to go down. And if they can appeal, find out the solution there, and then get back to the municipality locally to find out whether they're going to pursue it or if somebody else that is applying on the waiting list can fill those shoes. And again, we do have a medical cannabis cup. It is not recreational. Sponsoring or being affiliated with this event is by no means promoting recreational cannabis consumption. In November, we're going to do this. How can a charge be both so egregious and get dismissed?
Okay, that concludes public comment. Any comments from board members?
Mr. Chairman, just a couple comments. Regarding the secure transporter, the home delivery, that's going to create issues for law enforcement. As one of the partners that has to be listed. Talking about this, my thoughts on it. It's going to create a significant issue. It could. And they need to be drawn out in the very beginning. This past weekend, we had a High Times Cannabis Cup. Half the time we call it a High Times Medical Cup. The other half we call it just what it is. It's a recreational market that happened this past weekend. Like you go on social media and see the pictures and videos and tell me that's anything but 100% recreational. It is. And we don't have that market yet. That may change. We don't know. We're not past November 6th yet.
Okay, that it? I need a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, please.
All, go ahead, Paul,
Chairman Rick Johnson,
yes.
David Valentine, Vivian Tahar, no.